Good morning, friends. When I saw that the weekend was gone, and then Monday, I thought, all right, I'm not meant to record any video for this week. And again, yesterday, nothing happened. I'm sorry. As you can see, that difficulty sometimes with coughing is still there, although much less than it has been even at the time of the 5th December. But it is progressively being thrown out of the body system. Today is Wednesday, but a special Wednesday. Today is the 26th January. And this is very meaningful in India because this is called the Republic Day, which means that if India got its independence on the 15th August, it is on 26th January that it became a republic. That means that it decided as a nation, its status, its way of functioning, I would say. And normally, republics have done with monarchies and this kind of authoritarian systems of governance. So India is supposed to be a democracy, a republic, which is a democracy, which is considered until now as the best existing system, where it is supposedly the people themselves who govern through various systems. And usually, like here in India, a president of the republic, etc., and prime minister, and all these usual delegations of power. I will not spend time underlining what are all the approximations that are still existing in all our democracies all over the planet, in all our republics. Because actually, in most cases, the people themselves are still oppressed, still exploited, still treated like slaves in actuality, in daily life, in economic terms, in workforce terms, etc. Of course, at the moment, women are especially trying to catch up in our societies. Some more rights, like those that men have. But even among men, the male gender, there is so much inequality everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So we are still a far cry from real democracy, the way it would be in its true form. Now, I happen to live in Oroville, and Oroville is supposed to be an example, at least in its ideals, and what it is indeed striving to achieve, of what a more ideal society would be for a truer and a better world. What did Mother say that she wanted as a system of governance for Oroville? And she said a lot about governments and how awful they manage to be in most cases, even when they have a genuine good intention. The problem is that for the time being, everywhere we humans tend to be still totally caught by the mental way of functioning, which is too rigid, which is too authoritarian, which doesn't work with the heart, which doesn't let in through love, divine love, because it is not yet very much awakened in most of us. People speak a lot about the supramental, usually without understanding what it really is and why it is there at all and what is its importance, etc. But, first of all, what must awaken in all of us is the divine love center. That place deep within us, where our psychic being resides in its own invisible space behind the heart chakra. And it is what must rule our own being, first of all. And then radiate more and more to help the rest of the world to change too, to reintroduce true love in our lives, in our relationships, in all there is. And the sense of separation will melt away together with our ego. And then a true human unity can come about. So, given this overall future that is more and more present on Earth, growing in more and more of us everywhere. For Oroville itself, what did Mother want as a government if she didn't want democracy? Because she felt it was actually totally inadequate and not truly practiced, just like communism and all those other systems. All the isms are mental constructions, even if they have seized upon one principle which has validity in itself. Immediately the mind rigidifies the whole framework, put rules everywhere, put obligations everywhere. And then the soul is stifled. No love is left anywhere in the life of the people. And we have what we have everywhere in our present governments, under whichever name. So this is why we have to change as quickly as we can. All of us who are at least aware of where the problem lies and why we have to evolve. That means to open ourselves to what is beyond the mind. That includes very much love, divine love. Because it is a oneness in diversity. So the mother gave a very interesting answer. She said she wanted in Auroville divine anarchy. And she laughed and she said, of course, I don't mean simply human anarchy. That would be disaster. But it has to be a divine anarchy, where all the individuals are ruled from within by the divine, which in them, which is one with the divine, within everything else. And so it is harmonious. All the differences can play out without harming and hurting and eliminating each other. And so this divine anarchy, because there's a divine behind it all, that would be this unity in diversity that we are looking for. And again, the only way we can really be guided from within by the divine is through our psychic being, which we must invite to grow and to rule all the parts of our being and help them to discover their true way of functioning, which will give to all these parts their true happiness. Last. So it so happens that my body is very much part of my life. Not only am I conscious of my body very much, but the very cells of my body have been, without my knowledge at the time, contagion, as mother used to say. But the consciousness which had grown over the years so powerfully in mother's own body cells. And then my own body cells over the years, since November 73, have been growing steadily in their own consciousness. And they pretty much feel themselves somehow as a country. You see, I told you about my name. This is important, not just centrally to discover what is our central direction of development, but also for our body. because the cells do participate in the realization of what that name means, expresses. And becomes more and more an actual reality in our lives. So, over the years, my body, they see themselves as my population, the population of the country called Braga. So simple. And over the years, my psychic being has become for them their mama, at the same time as their queen. And the more my inner relationship with Sri Krishna as Bhagavan has developed, they also came to benefit from it and to enter into a relationship from their own cellular point of view and life and consciousness with that same Bhagavan as their king. I have to tell all that this morning because I discovered this morning why the divine had made me wait until then for recording anything. This morning, my cells woke up with a very strong awareness that today was in this country where we live, where this body lives, India, is a Republic Day, where the system of governance for India had been chosen and celebrated a republic. And then my cells had such a strong aspiration that there is indeed an aspiration to true democracy. And this present Prime Minister has his own sincerities, this Narendra Modi. Something extraordinary has happened this time. You remember that we are now in 22, and that 2022, the 15th August, will be celebrated everywhere in the world to some extent, and particularly in India, besides, of course, the ashram and Auroville as such. In India too, the celebration of the 15th August in 2022 will be especially linked officially with the celebration of Sri Aurobindo's own 150th birthday, as well as India's Independence Day. And maybe you don't know, but in 2018, for the 50th Jubilee celebration of Auroville's farm, this Narendra Modi came to visit Auroville. we received him officially, etc. And so since then, he's especially aware of Auroville. And now we have got somehow as an unexpected result of that visit, a renewed interest from the government in Auroville's development. So the ways in which it has been actually trying to happen recently were not ideal, but let us consider that the divine is also acting through those actions, however misguided they might seem to many of us here. So that certain reaction from us might come, which will have the positive effect needed finally. So I see it always as a whole combination of factors playing out together one after the other, so that the final outcome can be the most beneficial one. And hopefully for all people concerned, that means also for the government of India itself. But obviously, all governments everywhere in the world, even in France, which is my official country of origin, and my cultural country of origin as well. The governments at the moment are at a loss. So what happened was that this morning, the population of the Baga nation woke up with that awareness, acute awareness, that today was a Republic Day. And that included not only India, but any other republic in the world. Because there is the same problem everywhere. Everywhere, the mental governments need to change into a more enlightened, more loving, more supple, less rigid, more inclusive governance. And my population said, we too are a republic, even with our beloved king and queen. And with them, what we are actually living more and more is a divine anarchy that Mother wanted for Auroville, and which one day will be all over the planet. So, as the Baga Republic, my cellular population celebrated this morning as the morning when they opted consciously for becoming more and more a divine anarchy way of governance in that body. This is something which might be astonishing for many people who still believe that we are meant to rule our body and that our self, the higher self, etc. And it's very much still understood, interpreted by the mind of most people. Even those who are aware of the indispensable transformation of the body too. There is more or less in everybody still that belief that the body is a carcass, you see, it's just supposed to obey. And then you tell the body that you want the transformation and whatnot. So for every person, it will take a different form, but most people don't realize that the mother particularly in the agenda, she insists so much on the fact that it must be a free choice of the self. The true transformation of the body can be done only with the full agreement of the cells themselves and not be imposed on the body once again, as has happened in the other steps of evolution until now, because there was no other way until then. But now, with the supramental here, acting in matter itself, the body and itself are discovering more and more that they have the choice, that they have their own willpower. And in the case of my body, it is not me at all who have ever even thought of the transformation, etc. It is my body, it is myself who at some point, discovering fully that possibility, decided that that was what they wanted and what their life would be about. I am only helping as much as I can and trying that my mind, my vital parts are not coming too much in the way of their own. The word efforts keeps trying to come out, but it is not that. They know very well that it is not through their own effort that such a huge transformation can ever happen. So they just give themselves more and more of them to that light of love that the first of them, many years back, have discovered. And then more and more of the cellular population opens itself to that power, asking it to change them. To make them the divine body that needs to come. And that's about to become. So, this is what happened this morning. At the Republic of Myself, I've realized that the way they really want to function and know they should function is by this divine anarchy, where itself blissfully receives its guidance at every moment directly from the divine. The way I always see it is the example, the image of an orchestra where you have all the musicians, but you have the conductor, and they follow the conductor who knows everybody's partition and will direct them to play whatever they have to play, each of them at the right moment, making the most beautiful music all together. So, in the Baka Republic, they want divine anarchy. And they are asking the divine to make them grow into it as fast as possible, so that it becomes contagious. Not only for other bodies who need also to grow out of their present condition. But you see, they saw themselves as really a country at that other scale. And that their example, at whatever scale it is, can stimulate something in the same direction for the big countries on the big scale, where normal countries exist in our world. It's the same principle as the fractals, you see. It's just a question of difference of scale. But since years, what has been happening within my body in that cellular population was obviously an example towards human unity through diversity. My body was obviously showing me how it should happen. And I could see very much the possible correspondence with human unity among human individuals, each of them being a specific cellular country. So today is especially significant, we feel, for such an inner contact and such an inner contagion, maybe, of a reinforced aspiration. Because obviously, this President Modi has decided that for what is happening probably right now in Delhi, the main celebration, he has got prepared a whole, how to say, presentation in volume, I mean, I'll show you. I have no idea. It's just a friend who lives in Pondicherry and who happened to send me pictures of what was being prepared in Delhi as part of what would be the big celebration today. So I'll try through the screen to show you some of it. Voilà, so I don't know exactly where it will be in Delhi, but somewhere where the whole celebration, officials, etc., will happen. So there is a whole area, kind of, with you can see a bit clearly there's a statue of Sri Aurobindo here. And I'll show you. Here is something like Matrimondia, and then a statue of Sri Aurobindo coming out of it, something like that. And here you can see Sri Aurobindo. You see, there's a whole arrangement of images and in space. I mean, voilà. Where you can get a presentation of the main written works of Sri Aurobindo, and actually the main stages of his life, because there are many, there are photos of when he was an important political man. You see, and here it is a photo of a political photo when he was. I mean, well, this gives you an idea, but there is a whole arrangement. I cannot go into detail there, but what I liked, after a while, you see, I wondered, did they show also the mother somewhere? And I was very happy. You can see there is at the very top, there is somewhere here, and there is another photo where it is more visible. I'll try to find it now and to show it to you. Voila. Voila, so, voila. So I was very glad that they also included the mother, because after all, she was a French lady. At that time, the government of India never accepted to give her even the double nationality that she asked. And in Auroville, at some point, we are supposed also not to be, I mean, we are supposed to be citizens of the world, not just limited to visas from the government of India, as is the case now. So it's on this kind of points also the government of India, like all of our governments basically, still have to lose their rigidity and to come to the point when the possibility, at least for certain people who have proven their inner qualification for that, to become really world citizens and not need anymore all the visas here, there, etc. So all this is part of what must change in our world to make it a truer place to live. So, and to make also the ideals of Auroville manifested. So we Aurovillians have to grow into it as well. In the meantime, I am not saying at all that from our part, we are already perfect and perfectly fulfilling what is needed to qualify for all that. But it was such a wonderful thing to what's happening this morning within my own being, that myself wanted somehow to show the example. Isn't that fantastic? That our very selves might show us the way through the sincerity, the simplicity of their own aspiration towards the realization of what we must become. So this seems to be why the divine made me wait until now for recording anything. I'm very glad to have to report such a sweet and magnificent little event in my own body. May it somehow help all other bodies and all countries and all republics at whatever scale of existence to become governed by divine anarchy, directly between each individual and the divine. That was the aspiration, that today would be the day when this would concretely start and spread. So if you like to help too, you are free to join. Maybe your bodies too will be interested to become countries where divine anarchy becomes possible, because the very self of that body want to be ruled by the divine only, in the joy and delight of that love. So it's up to all of you listening today to me and who have heard how my body felt today and what it resolved to do, quite officially, in your own consciousness. May you spread that everywhere, so that a wave of that delightful divine love helps everything move forward toward that goal. Oh.